I wonder would Ryan Reynolds consider buying Leash GA?
I'm emotionally invested in them now. I'm like, they better make the Premier League, because that's the top one, right?
Right.
Have you ever watched TV with someone and you're talking and they pause it?
Oh, my mom does that all the time.
Does she?
Time variance authorities at the TVA.
Fair
A lot
play
of
for
words for you.
remembering that. If you're a Disney Plus user, you're probably already aware of some of the great stuff on the platform. But right now, we're going to talk about some of the brand new seasons, new movies, and new series. Available with non-stop new content coming to Disney Plus. Okay, so we're here to highlight 5 of the new TV shows, movies, and seasons that are coming to Disney Plus. So the 5 shows are Loki, The Kardashians, The Haunted Mansion, Colleen Rooney, The Real Wagatha Story, and Welcome to Wrexham. So I think firstly we should start with Loki, because that's your number 1. So maybe you tell me a little bit about what to expect and why it's your favourite out of the 5.
Yeah, so there's so much weight to it, and I feel like Loki is so good because he's a villain that everyone can somewhat relate to. Because he's hurt, but he's not broken. Do you know what? Everyone's kind of been at that part in their life where they don't feel good enough, and that's what Loki is. And he tries everything to kind of prove
Yeah.
that, but it's just very good, very good. And the first season, it toys with a romance with Sylvie, who plays a part in this season, but it's kind of traded in for a bromance played by Owen Wilson, and who doesn't love Owen Wilson?
Oh my God, love Owen Wilson, yeah.
So it's absolutely brilliant. So if you want to watch the trailer.
Yeah, perfect.
I've been pulled through time. If what I saw is true, there's nothing that stands between this world and utter destruction.
Only one way to find out.
It's up to us to save this place.
Is this crack?
Yeah, babe. Come on, you're the god of mischief.
Always have been, always will be.
Brilliant. That does look really good. I'm going to add it to my watch list.
It's action-packed, but incredibly witty.
I've just started my Marvel journey. So I'm watching it in timeline order.
Like, you don't have to watch them in order, which is the great thing about it if you're not a fan. But if you are a fan and you want to know the storyline, if you start piecing it together, then you watch them in chronological.
Because there is a bit of a debate, isn't there? It's like, do you watch them in timeline order or in order of when they were released?
Yeah.
People are really passionate about that, because I remember I stuck that up on Instagram a few months ago, because I was like, right, I'm going to start these movies. I got no help because people were so like 50-50 on it.
Yeah.
So what do you think?
Well, personally speaking, I would have watched them as they came out, and then I would have went back and watched them in
the timeline order.
Because, I mean, you kind of can only work with what you have. You can only
Yeah.
play the ball you're given. Like, so
Is that a sports reference?
Yeah, it is.
Wow, what a segue into our next topic. So we've known each other for a long time. I've never been like sports obsessed.
Not at all, not even remotely.
But I feel like I'm in my sports era now. I'm like getting into it. I've been to a few Premier League matches this year. I'm bet into Welcome to Wrexham. Like, I'm just finished season 1, really looking forward to season 2. So Ryan Reynolds and his friend Rob McElhenney, who you would know from Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Basically, the two guys bought this football club in Wrexham, which is a town in Wales. The football is like the heart of the town, and the football team weren't doing well for a really long time. And so that seemed to be like seeping into the mood of everybody in the town, like you see it in this documentary. And the guys come along, they buy the team, they invest money into it, and it's just like such an uplifting story about like football and how much it means to a community. And even as someone who wasn't like a massive sports fan, I found myself getting sucked into it. And I'm like, actually, I think I support Wrexham now. I think that's my team. So I'm going to show you the trailer. And actually on this trailer, it shows us 3 reasons why you should watch it, as well as the fact that Ryan Reynolds is on it. So
okay,
let's have a watch.
So the King of England called.
They're making this a place you want to come play.
The community's growing in a way that is authentic and real and powerful.
The interest in Wrexham football has absolutely exploded.
I wonder would Ryan Reynolds consider buying Leash GA?
I'm emotionally invested in them now. I'm like, they better make the Premier League, because that's the top one, right?
Right.
So you mentioned Owen Wilson, and he also happens to be in The Haunted Mansion, which is a new movie that was released on Disney Plus this year. And I really enjoyed it. I think if you are a Hocus Pocus fan, this is a good one to watch. Okay. So it is basically about a mother and son who move into, shock horror, a haunted mansion. And the whole premise of it is that they are dealing with quite a few guests in the house, a few spirits, and yeah, great cast, amazing cast. There's Jamie Lee Curtis, Danny DeVito, and Owen Wilson, obviously. That's a good one to add to maybe the Christmas watch list if you wanted something alternative, you know, like that weird week between Christmas and New Year's and you've had loads of Christmas movies.
Crimbo Limbo.
Crimbo Limbo. So it's a good one to add to that time, I think, because it's like, it's not Christmassy at all. So if you just feel like a bit of a break, but the whole family's like getting together, it could be a nice one to add to the watch list. What I really like about the new season of The Kardashians is they've kind of broadened out what they talk about. And it's like they're really aware of their platform. They're really aware of their influence. And I really respect how conscious they are of it and the good that they're trying to do with it. And maybe they don't hit the nail on the head every time, but like even say Kim, for example, she is doing amazing work in prison reform. And like there's a lot of that on the show, which obviously is her being like, if you want me on the show, we're going to talk like this. Like you just know that she's pushing for it. And actually in one of the latest episodes, she was talking a lot about how her team worked on this bill. I'm not sure, it was sometime within the last 5 years, because she's been working on it for about 5 years.
She's studying to be a lawyer, isn't she?
Yeah, she's very close to taking the bar now. And her team, who she's like studying with and working with, they wrote a bill that led to something like 30,000 inmates being released because, you know, just their sentences were unfair, or you know, there was just they got a chance to have a look at their sentences, whereas before this bill was written, they wouldn't have. They were serving life, or you know, they were serving crazy sentences, but they got a second chance. And I think she made a really good point on one of the recent episodes as well, that like people think that anyone who's into prison reform just don't, you know, they're just like, oh, anyone in prison should be let out. And she's saying it's not that. It's just that everyone deserves a fair chance to be, you know, have their case looked at, or things to be fair. And I would never have thought about that sort of thing. But now, because of watching the new season of The Kardashians, I'm like, oh, that's something to, you know, think about. So it's not all like, you know, selfies and like makeup. They do talk about some serious issues. Okay, so lastly, we're going to finish up with Colleen Rooney, the real Wagatha story.
It's a 3-part documentary, and I was surprised by how gripped I was by it. Like, the fact that all you see is what you read in the media, essentially, about these kind of cases, and it gave that kind of humanistic side to it. It was told in a very calm demeanour, and like she'd been followed around by paparazzi since she was 16, which I didn't realise that's what age she was when she started seeing Wayne Rooney. Like,
that's crazy.
Like first papped like coming out of school. Like
I remember her starting to see him, like, and that being in the newspapers.
I didn't realise she was 16. Like,
oh my god, that must have been so much pressure.
So like she was very used to being violated per se by the media, but this was from her social account, so it was like a portrayal more so than anything else. She had 300 followers on her social media, and stories were being like leaked. So essentially what she did was narrow down her view list on her stories, and like fabricated stories that couldn't be true and put them up and waited them to be leaked to the Sun newspaper.
So she could narrow down.
And the only person each story that she put up was like one viewer, Rebecca Vardy. And then like she just posted it, and it just went. It's a must watch.
It's up to us to save this place.
Don't play games with a girl who can play better.
Welcome. So exciting to see you all here.
We're back, better than ever.
So that's it. We have finished up with episode 1. Looking forward to coming back and chatting to you again about more TV shows and series in the future.
And more snacks.
More snacks.
Speaking of snacks.
I was just going to say that.
Get out of it.
It takes two. Thanks for watching, everyone. And don't forget to check out Disney Plus for non-stop new seasons, movies and series.